some reasons the Beatitudes have been on my mind all day today and yesterday, and to the point where I thought that's what I was going to preach on today. But then I heard the scriptures this morning. And the scriptures are very poignant. They really are talking to us about something that we all need to realize. And sometimes we don't. The best position in this world is a position of being a servant. I don't know about any of you, but that's not what I went to school to study to be. A servant. I don't think any of us did. That's what Jesus and Paul both are telling us. That the very best thing we can do is be a servant to our fellow human beings, to each other. I look at those scriptures sometimes and I think that's not the easiest thing to do. It's much easier to be the leader than to be the servant. How many would agree with me? Isn't it easier to write out a list of things you want people to do and then give it to them to do?
Amen.
Amen. It's so much easier. That's what I went to school to learn.
Yeah.
It depends on how many cats you're herding.
Cats?
Okay.
We never hurt cats. I've got Smokey, so let's not even talk about that. But I think about it. I think about what being a servant means. Now, first of all, get it out of your heads that it means you're going to let everybody in this world walk over you. That's not what Jesus was talking about. What he was talking about is seeing people for who they are. Seeing people, no matter who they are or what they believe, as equals that need the love of God. What do you mean, preacher? It goes back to some things that we've been learning all along, or I hope we've been learning. Forgiveness. Being grateful. Grateful for people in our lives. Grateful for what they pass on to us. Little things. I saw Sarah's pictures from the Garden of the Gods, and I thought, these are so beautiful. And it blessed my heart. I was grateful that you went yesterday and you took those pictures. I think of things that we do for each other. Little things we do for each other. I appreciate just the little things that are done. Like if somebody makes a dessert or a food for potluck, one of the first things they do is say, "Preacher, don't eat this. I put green peppers in it." I appreciate that because you're looking out for my health because I have allergies to them. I appreciate people thinking about what other people would like. You know? I look at all of you, and I think about Thanksgiving coming up and how much we have to be grateful for. Each and every one of us. Have we even thought about what we have to be grateful for? Have we thought about just the food on our table? Half the world goes hungry each and every day. I don't know about you for Thanksgiving, but I can guarantee at our house there'll be so much on the table that by the time I get done helping to cook it and prepare it, I don't want to eat it. Because I've tasted all of it, and it's like, that's it. And there's going to be so much food there that every single person in the house is going to get overly full. I think about that. I think about the joys we have in life. How many of you had a car to come to church in today? You know, when I was a kid, my mother didn't drive. And we walked everywhere or took a bus everywhere. Every Sunday morning we got up an hour early so we could walk to church. All 5 of us, with my mother behind us. I'm so grateful I have a car. I'm so grateful that I have the money for gas to go where I want, when I want. Are you grateful? Are you humble about it? I remember my very first car, and somebody asked me why you got that first car. I remember working at Sears part-time as a sales clerk, and coming home from there and going over and doing a babysitting job so I could save up enough money to buy a car. And somebody asked me why I was willing to do it. I said, because I don't want to see my mama carry groceries anymore. I didn't mention I didn't want to carry groceries anymore either. But that was my first thought. I don't want to see my mama carry groceries anymore. When I drive through the city and I see people walking with groceries in their hand, I stop and give them a ride. Do you? Do you think about them? Do you think about how grateful they would be? Because it's a hard job to carry groceries, especially enough to feed 5 kids. How grateful are we? Or are we all in that position of the rabbis where it's much easier to say, you do this, and you do that, and you do this, and I'll sit here in my nice clothes and I'll watch and make sure it's done correctly? Or is it easier to be the servant that helps? Jesus made us a promise a long time ago, and I've always believed it. I use it quite often. It's just a little saying. It's a saying Jesus gave us. He says, my burden is light, and I'll help you carry your yoke. And some of us think our life is so very, very hard. We fight demons. We all fight demons. I fight demons. Throw up your hands and you want to quit what you're doing. You're mad because things don't go the way you want them to go. And you want to quit. I really want to see, who can I pick on this day? I want to see Denny do more work around here. I haven't seen him pick up a broom for 3 months. Wouldn't it be easier for me to pick up the broom and do it? Instead of just looking at somebody else and expecting them to do it. And that's what Jesus was talking about. He says, as human beings, as God's children, you have the greatest gift of all. Your Creator is in heaven and you've been made in that image. That image of love, that image of glory, that image of mercy, and that image of grace. What do you mean, preacher? That's what God is. Love, mercy, and grace, and glory. That's the image you're made in. He says, you've had the very best of teachers. Because you see, God came down. Came down and took human form. And we call him Jesus. And Jesus taught us how to live. He taught us to stand up for those that are oppressed. He taught us to fight for justice. He taught us to take care of those who are unable to take care of themselves. He taught us to forgive. And he taught us what love really means. Love means, I love you for who God has created. Not for who I want to see you be, but for who God has created. There are things that I'll never be able to change, but I want to do the best I can to feed the hungry, to remember those old folks, probably because I'm getting there. I want to remember the little children. I want to remember the animals, the land, the trees that God has given me. And I want us all to take care of it. For you see, that's what Jesus taught us. He taught us that we were the caretakers of this world, that we are the hands and feet. We are the Bible that people read. What do you mean, preacher? We are the Bible preachers people read. I can talk religion all day long. The first time I tell you I can't be bothered with you, what kind of Bible am I? The first time I tell you you're sinning and won't be forgiven, what kind of Bible am I? The first time I say something about my neighbor that isn't flattering, what kind of Bible am I? Paul was telling the Thessalonians the exact same thing. We came and we taught you about Jesus, and you accepted it. And now we're so proud of you because you're spreading that love. You're becoming the Bible that other people read. We, as God's people, no matter what names we're called, no matter where they put us, no matter when others say, you can't be a Christian, let me tell you something. You're the only Bible people are reading. When people see you doing what God has called us to do, you know, things like feeding the hungry, visiting the prisoners, praying for the sick, taking care of each other. Guess what they see? They see what Jesus has taught us. They see a Christian. I invite each and every one of you, especially in this season we're coming upon, this season of Thanksgiving, to stop and think what I have to be grateful for, what I have to pass on to those around me. What time do I have to give? What amount of money do I have to give? But even beyond that, what time do I have to give to pray for others? What time do I have to love you just for who you are? Those are the things God is calling us to do. He's not calling us to condemn. He's not calling us to push our religion down anybody else's throat. He's calling us to be those open Bibles where people see God's love. Amen.
Yeah.